Hi, I'm Evelyn Tribole. Did you know that dieting can actually cause you to gain more weight, become obsessed with food, and increase the risk of binge eating? It does! Most people don't know this. I wish there was a public health announcement saying, warning, dieting can hurt your health. Since there is no announcement, I created this video and I hope it really helps you. And the study that really blew me away was published just last year. Looked at twins, 2,000 pairs, 4,000 people, to ask this question: does dieting independent of genetics cause weight gain? Because they were thinking, well, maybe people who go on diets gain more weight in the long run is because they're genetically predisposed. So, fair question. So they followed these twins for about 5 years, and here's what they found, is that dieting independent of genetics was significantly related to weight gain, and it was dose responsive, meaning the more a twin dieted, the more likely they would be weighing even more than their counterpart who didn't diet. Now, isn't that depressing? It's like, we got to get the word out. And so the researchers even concluded that dieting in part may actually be responsible for the current obesity epidemic. It's creating the problem. Let's take a look at some other issues. It affects kids. Here's what's driving me nuts about this, is there is so much pressure on parents about the war on obesity. And what's a parent to do? And so they're going to do something. They're scared. They don't want their kids to, be obese and have all the health rates that are talked about in all these public health campaigns. And yet there's a lot of research on kids and dieting. And here's what we know. This one study looked at 17,000 kids from the ages of 9 to 14, and here's what they found: that those kids who were dieting were 8 to 12 times more likely to engage in binge eating compared to those who never ever dieted. 17,000 kids. These scientists also said it looks like dieting is a predictor of weight gain. What about teens? This study blew me away because they looked at teens all the way through young adulthood. For 10 years they followed them. They looked at their dieting history, what they did, what happened afterwards, what happened to their weight. Sadly, over half of the girls were dieting and 25% of the boys were dieting. And what they found out is dieting predicted more weight gain and binge eating. So when we look at the kids, we look at the teens, we look at the twins, and now how about the adults? There was a scientific review in which they looked at over 30 studies on dieting and weight loss, dieting, weight loss, dieting, weight gain. You get the idea. And what the researchers found was this, is that dieting predicted weight gain, binge eating, and eating disorders. And I will tell you, eating disorders especially is a very, very scary risk from dieting, especially for teens. A study looked at teens and dieting for over 3 years, and what they found is dieting was the single most predictive factor for developing an eating disorder. So look at all this. You can gain weight, you binge eat, increased risk of eating disorder. Who wants that? We gotta dump the dieting. It's not working. It'd be one thing if it was a pain in the patootie, but you felt better or you were healthier. But that's not what the research is showing. We got to do it differently. But what about you? Most patients that I work with will describe their first diet almost like a first love. It's a seduction. Weight comes off easily, effortlessly, and every diet thereafter, you keep wondering, why is it so hard to stay on the diet? Why is it that not only are you gaining the weight back, but you're ratcheting more and more and more? You might find that you're more preoccupied with food. You try to have more rules around eating. And what's so important to realize, this is not you. It is the process of dieting that creates this problem, and it is very hazardous to your health and your mind. And in the next video, I'm going to show you some ideas on terms of what you can do instead of dieting.